On second day, we have done with the concepts of capital gain taxes. On third day, which was yesterday, we revised all the things of income tax of an individual person, normally tested in section C for 15 marks question. From today's class, we are going to start practicing exam questions as you will be having in your real exam. So can you see my screen properly? Can you listen me properly? Please give me your confirmation so that we can move ahead. Waiting for your answers in the chat box. All right. So we are going to start practicing income tax questions tested in section C for minimum 15 marks. We are going to practice these questions on ACCA online practice platform. It will give you the real feel as you are attempting your real exam. So it is very important class, very important discussion which we are going to have today. So without wasting any time, I'm going to start these questions, and you have to follow these steps at your end while practicing at home. So first of all, open the ACCA Global website. Scroll down. On the right side bottom, there is an option of past exam papers. Just click on that option. Now, here we have three options, which are ACCA qualification, number 2, foundation level, and number 3rd option. You have to follow the ACCA qualification. Once you click, all the papers, all the exams of ACCA are shown. Then just select TX taxation. Once you click on taxation, we have these options in front of us: exam resources, getting started, afterwards learning and revision. From this learning and revision option, go to the second option, which is online practice, ACCA practice platform. You have to write all these steps, so you should practice by following all these options to open ACCA practice platform. So I am clicking ACCA practice platform. Once you click, you will be having this screen in front of you. There are two types of practice exam resources within practice platform, which are specimen exam and practice exam. Then select UK text version, and then specimen exam and practice exam will be shown. Now you can see we have three complete papers like real exam papers. So it's specimen exam, it's practice exam 1, and then practice exam 2. We are gonna start specimen exam, and keep remember we are going to start practicing income tax area of section C. So once you click this arrow, a new window open, a new tab will open. Okay, once you click specimen exam, a new window will open in front of you. Then just you have to put your ID number. Once you place your ID number, so the exam will be opened. Then it's simple introduction. You have to read all the things in introduction. On the right side bottom, you have an option of next, then next, and instructions page 2. Just scroll down and see the page as a whole, then click next. If you don't scroll and look at the whole page and simply click directly next, so you will get this option. You have not yet viewed the entire screen. Please use all scroll bars and or open any on-screen exhibits before trying again. So it means unless you scrolled bar to the whole page, you cannot move forward or on the previous page. So next, it's last instructions, next, and finally, it's the exam summary screen. Once you click next, ready to begin. If you are ready to begin your exam, please click yes. If you are not ready to begin, so we are ready, yes. It's the start of section A. This session is comprises of 15 objective test questions, 2 marks each and 30 marks in total. Important calculations and workings need only be made to the nearest pound. All apportionment should be made to the nearest month. Select next to continue next. So once we click next, you can see our exam has started. Now, first of all, let me explain few things in this exam. Same screen will be appeared in your real exam. Same exam will be happened like this. As you know that there are tax rates and allowances and multiple things available during your exam. So how can you actually, how can you have the access? So on the right side bottom, there is an option of help and tax tables. Just click on that. We have 3 tabs here: exam instructions, tax tables, and CR questions help. So you can see what exactly are these included in exam instructions and CR questions help. But I'm going to show you the text tables. Like all these things are given in for TX exam, like the amount of available personal allowance of a year, and then residency status and the number of days UK and not in the UK. And there are multiple things which are given in text tables. You have to follow all these things while attempting your exam. So if you want on-screen calculator, you can directly access by using this option, calculator. So it's on-screen calculator. You can use this calculator, right? If you don't want to use it, you can close at any time. You can open at any time. Beside this calculator, you have another option, that is Scratchpad. What exactly do you mean by Scratchpad? What exactly do you mean by Scratchpad? It's actually for rough working. As when you attempt the center-based exam or the lab-based exam, they provide you a paper for rough working and a pencil for said working. So if you want if you want to do workings, etc., you can use this Scratchpad. And one more important thing, this Scratchpad will not be counted for marking your paper, right? It would be considered as your like rough working area, etc. Then It's section A and it's question 1. Once you have done with this question, you can move forward. For one by one moving forward and going back, you can use next and previous option, but we have another option in between of next and previous, that is navigator. Navigator is used if you want to directly switch to another question, like we are on question 2 and we want to move to the last section C or section B. So how we can directly move to the next sections or the next questions? By using navigator option. So before before the use of navigator, let's say we have not attempted this question and we want to, and even if we have attempted but we want to review this question, you just have to flag. It's flag for review. Once you flag the question, it will reflect and it will make you remember that you have to follow this question, that for reviewing purpose. So you can see I have flagged this question, that is question 2 of 36. So now I am going to navigate. So once I clicked on navigate, a new window is opened by the name navigator, and you can see here are the number of sections and number of questions in section, then section B, then questions of section B, and after that it's section C. As we have done flagging of number question 2, so you can see it's being reflected over here. It means it will make you remember that you have this that we have to follow this question for reviewing purposes. Once you have done reviewing, you can again click for making this flag. So then you can see it will not be reflecting on the navigator also. Now come to the today's questions practice discussion. We actually want to move to section C area, and we want to attempt section C income tax questions, right? So I am scrolling down and just click on section C. It's question 31. It's section C. You can see there are actually 3 questions, one of 10 marks and 2 of 15 marks. We are going to attempt this 15-mark question. From these 2 15 marks question each, we are going to attempt the income tax. So it's next. You can see first question is actually is of 8 marks, and there will be a next option. When we click on next option, a window appeared, unseen content. You have not yet viewed the entire screen. Please use all scroll bars. Okay, fine. We scroll this bar and then click the next. Now you can see first question is of 10 marks. Last requirement was of 8 marks, and the requirement B is of 2 marks. So it's a question of 10 marks. Again, scroll down and move to the next page. You can see this question, this scenario relates to 2 requirements. Requirement A, calculate Simon's taxable income, as we are going to start the same question, Simon. For the tax year 1920, we have to calculate Simon's taxable income under the requirement A, and it's 13 marks. So what exactly is the requirement for 2 marks? So unless you scroll down, we have to scroll down. First of all, we have to see all the things on this screen. Scroll down maybe for question and maybe for answering the question, like in this area, you may have another scroll bar at the right side of the screen. And this scroll bar is for moving the question to top to bottom. So we have scrolled, then we can click next. You can see here is another requirement of 2 marks. So how these 15 marks are covered, and the scenario is related to 2 requirements. Question remains same. Just the window of the requirement is just changed, and it's 2 marks requirement, and it's part B of the question. State 2 advantages of partnership of choosing 30th April its accounting date rather than 5th April. So it's a 2 marks question. It's actually the theoretical discussion. So that is why word process area is given in front of you. But if you have any requirements like regarding calculating and all that, you can see if I move back to the requirement A, like taxable income is required in this part of the question, you can see the Excel spreadsheet area is given in front of you. So all the things will appear same like this into your real exam. Let's say you want the answer screen area in front of you, you can actually move from here. So now you can see screen is wide now. If you want to see, it's actually a slider. We are moving slider. So it's actually a slider. During exam, you can move at any time. If you want to see the question in detail, you can expand the question area. And if you want to answer, you can expand the answer area, right? All these things are clear to you. Can you guys please give your kind confirmation? Waiting for your answers in the chat box. All right. So we are going to start answering this question. This scenario relates to two requirements, and requirement A is to calculate Simon's taxable income for the fiscal year 1920. So what exactly should be the pattern of your answer? So what should be the pattern of your answer? So let's start discussing about that. As we know that we are going to start answering part A. So it's part A. Simon, taxable income. We are just giving the heading, what we are going to do. It's Simon, taxable income for the fiscal year 2019 and 20. Same requirement and simply short, what we are actually going to do. We are going to find the Simon's taxable income for the fiscal year 1920. Don't waste your time for bold, italic, and underline and all, and for all these things. Now you can see we have written all this in the cell, but it's not shown here. You can actually resize by clicking on the line between the names of the columns. So it's actually you can actually set the width by using the column header. So if you want to move, if you want to increase or decrease the width of the column, you can move from here. Like if you want to B and C, so we have a line here. Once you see these arrows, you can click and just move right or left to resize this your column. So we have resized, and as this is now showing in a single cell. So now let's start reading the question and attempt it in a quick manner. On 6 April 19, 6 April 19 is actually the start date of the fiscal year 1920. Fiscal year 1920 starts on 6 April 19 and ends on 5th April 2020. On 6 April 19, Simon commenced employment with Equal Limited. On 1st Jan 20, fiscal year 1920 ends on 31st 5th April 2020. But on before end of fiscal year 1920, on 1st Jan 2020, he commenced in partnership with Art preparing accounts to 30th April. Along with the on 6 April 19, Simon commenced employment, and on 1st Jan 20, he commenced partnership. And the partnership business prepare account on 30th April. The following information is available for the fiscal year 1920, and the first is given for the employment, and second is given for the partnership business. And in addition to these two sources of income, Simon also have income from property. So Simon actually have three sources of income. And in yesterday's class, we talked about the income tax sheet of an individual person, that all the income which a person earned in a fiscal year is to be added in a pro forma, and there is no need to calculate the income tax liability, because the requirement is restricted to the calculation of the taxable income. And how the taxable income is calculated: if you deduct the amount of personal allowance from the net amount, first of all we have the total amount. From this total amount, we deduct the qualifying interest. After deducting qualifying interest, you get your net income. After deducting personal allowance from the net income, you will get your taxable income. There is no need to calculate the income tax liabilities and all that. So we just have to consider the sources of income, and after finding the income under each source, just place all the income in the income tax sheet and do deduct the related qualifying interest, if any, and the personal allowance according to the tapering concept, and all that. You will get the taxable income. And you know, it's very easy question, as and it's of 13 marks worth. It's very easy question for 13 marks. Literally, you can actually you can attain whole 13 marks in this part of the question. So first of all, actually, we have employment income details. So employment income, we shall be calculating the employment income, and we have, like, this is our heading. Keep remember, this is our heading, and we have to report the values in front of heading. So I want here the pound sign, the currency sign. So how can I place the currency sign in this cell? Just click cell in the column B, and there is an option on the left top side of the screen, that is symbol. Then select pounds, insert, I don't know why it is not actually be happening, but you can actually insert the symbol sign here. Okay, without wasting time, we can actually explore this option in our free time. But before without wasting any time, move towards the next areas and attempting the question. Here we have the employment details. During the tax year, 7 was paid a gross salary of 23,700. As we studied in yesterday's class, salaries is a part of employment income. So just add 23,700. Apart from salary, there could be other multiple types of benefits like employment. In employment income, there are taxable benefits and the exempt benefits. Exempt benefits are simply ignored, and taxable benefits are calculated and added to the employment income. So you can see throughout the tax year 1920, Equal Limited provided summing with living accommodation. It's the accommodation benefit. It's the accommodation benefit. And keep remember, whenever there is accommodation benefit, there could be the calculation of two accommodation benefits. The simple accommodation benefit, and if the value of the accommodation is more than 75,000, we have to find the additional benefit, that is expensive accommodation benefit. So what we are going to do, we are actually going to do to find the accommodation benefit. The company had purchased the property in 2007 for 89,000, and it was valued at 149,000 on 6 April 19. Its value on the fiscal year of 1920 is 143,000. But once the company had purchased this property, at that time we purchased for 89,000, more than 75,000. So it means it's the employer owned property which he purchased for 75,000. So the expensive accommodation benefit is also required to be calculated. And it was okay. The annual value of the property is 4,600. In the concepts of accommodation benefit, you can see living accommodation. In the accommodation benefit, we have multiple things. Its accommodation benefit is the annual value, and annual value for this accommodation is 4,600. In this accommodation, as the purchase value of the accommodation is 89,000, so there would be another thing, expensive accommodation benefit. Expensive accommodation benefit is calculated, as we talked in yesterday's class. If the property is more than 6-year-old, then use the market value. If the property is less than 6-year-old, once provided to employee, then use the cost plus improvement value. So as you know that the property was purchased in 2007, and now its value is more than 6-year-old, then use this market value, 143,000 for calculating the accommodation benefit. Now you can see the value of property on 6 April 19 is 143,000, and we have to deduct a value of 75,000 multiplied with the official rate of interest is 2.5%, and multiplied with the clearly mentioned here that the property was provided to employer throughout the tax year. So now you can see throughout means for a period of 12 months. So how this is the expensive accommodation benefit is calculated. You can perform all the calculations in next cell, but I have written all the calculation steps here. Why? Just because for you guys, so that you have an idea that how the calculations are performed, right? So if you want to calculate the same things here, you just have to place the equal sign in front of the values. Like if you want to simplify, the difference of 143 and 75,000 is simply a value of 68,000 multiplied with the official rate of interest, that is 2.5%, and its value will be 1700. It's actually 2.5%. Another thing, for this accommodation, the property was furnished. Furnished word shows the assets are also provided in this accommodation, and the property furnished for 9,500. The living accommodation is not job related. Let me tell you one thing, that if the living accommodation is related to job and provided to employee for due to its job nature of job, then the job related accommodation is an exempt benefit. Let me rephrase my hello. Can you guys listen? Let me rephrase my wording. Job related accommodation is an exempt benefit. If this all these things are given due to job related accommodation, then all these will be exempt. So it is clearly mentioned over here that the living accommodation is not job related. So we have to find all types of benefits relating to this accommodation. Now you can see the value is also the property is also furnished. So actually we have to find the asset usage benefit. Asset usage benefit, and asset usage benefit is simply calculated at the cost of the asset, like of 9400 of valued assets are provided in the accommodation, multiplied with the 20%, multiplied with the number of months for which asset is provided. Now here we have throughout the tax year situation, why that is why we are multiplying 12 upon 12, means we are taking the 12 months time period complete. So if we follow all these things here, so simply for performing calculation, you have to place is equal to at the start, that one thing which would come to your mind, that should you guys have to write all these things in your exam? No, you don't have to write all these things in your exam. You can just perform calculations over here. The examiner can see what you have multiplied or divided and what are the calculation steps. The examiner can see all these figures from the formula bar. Why I am writing all these? So why I am writing all these things? I am writing for you guys, so that you have an idea that how this 1880 is calculated. We don't know, we cannot know unless we click on the value, that how this 1880 is calculated. Once you click the value, then you can see, then you will able to understand the calculations and the amount used for calculating this value of 1880. So that is why I am writing the calculation steps here for you guys, so that you have an idea that how this 1880 is calculated. After this, another thing, employment note 3, on 1st December 19, Eco Limited provided Simon with an interest-free loan. Interest-free loan, employer is not charging any interest on loan, so the loan benefit is to be calculated, and the loan benefit is to be calculated under two methods, the average method and the accurate or strict method. So as the interest, as the loan is interest free, so there is also no repayment given in question that the employee repaid the part of loan during the fiscal year. In that scenario, where no repayment is mentioned in question, then the answer under both methods will remain same. Then the answer under both methods will remain same. And if you remember, accommodation benefit will be the loan benefit would be the so the loan benefit is the lower of two methods, the average and the accurate method. So no repayment is mentioned over here. So we are going to find the loan benefit amount. We are not going to perform two methods because there is no repayment. I'm repeating my words again and again. So the value of beneficial loan is 84,000 and multiplied with the official rate of interest, that is 2.5%, and into this loan was provided. You can see this loan was provided by employer on 1st December 2019. So we have to multiply here with the number of months in a fiscal year. So it's the complete month of December, Jan 20, Feb 20, and 31st March 20. So actually, this loan was provided for a total number of 4 months from a total 12 months of the fiscal year. So if you perform all these things over here, how you will perform 84,000 is to be multiplied 0.025 is 2.5%, then multiplied with 4 over 12. So how you will perform, and you will get an amount of 700, right? So now if you want to add all these things, if you add all these things, you will get your employment income. So by adding all these, how to add now? Have a look on the formula. Is equal sum bracket start, then select the values which you want to add, then close the bracket and press enter. So 32580 is employment income. Now we are going to start another area, that is I'm skipping one row because now we are going to find the trading income from this partnership business. So trading income from this partnership business. Let's start discussing. First of all, read about the partnership business. The partnership tax adjusted profit. Keep remember, tax adjusted trading profits of 4 months for period ended 30th April 20 is 29700. We don't have to perform any adjustment because already the tax adjusted trading profits are given for 4 months. So it means we directly have to apply anything on these values. We don't have to recorrect or to recheck this taxable trading profit, because it is clearly mentioned that these are tax adjusted profit where all the necessary adjustments have been made. This figure is before taking account of capital allowances, but there is one requirement which we have to deduct from here, that is the capital allowances. As we talked in yesterday's class, capital allowances is actually a tax depreciation, and for tax depreciation there are the main pool and the special rate pool, short lapse asset, and privately used asset. All these things are part and parcel of capital allowances. So simply fund the 4 months capital allowance. So we can deduct capital allowance of 4 months as an allowed expense from the value of 29,700. Then the number 2 is given for the calculation of capital allowances. The only item of plant and machinery capital allowances are calculated are available on plant and machinery. So the only item of plant and machinery owned by the partnership is a motor car of 18750 on 1st Feb 2020. So the motor car has CO2 emission of 125 grams per kilometer. Now you can see the motor car has a CO2 emission of more than 110 grams per kilometer. So what should be the percentage rate on this car? So what should be the percentage rate on this car for calculating the capital allowances? As we talked in yesterday's class, if car CO2 emission is more than 110 grams per kilometer, so a value of 6% for capital allowances is available. So 6% capital allowances for this car. But now you can see it is used by art and 40% of the mileage is for private journeys. Now you can see capital allowance are available on 6% at 6% because car CO2 emission is more than 110. Along with that concept, we have another thing for this car. This car is partly used in business and partly used for private purposes. You know that capital allowances are available to the extent of the business use only. So capital allowances are available to the extent of business use only. So what should be the trading income? Trading income before 4 months. I'm going to start here. I'm going to start here. 4 months tax adjusted profits which are 29,700. First of all, we have to less the capital allowances, and as we know that capital allowances are calculated on the value of car, and the value of car is 18750, and the value of car is 18750 multiplied with a percentage of of 6% multiplied with the number of months. Keep remember accounting period is of 4 months, so we are multiplying 4 upon 12. But now another adjustment, 60%, 40% is for private journeys, so 60% journeys are for business purposes, so multiplying with 60%. So finally, we have all the things. Cost of car multiplied by why 6% because car CO2 emission is more than 110 grams per kilometer. Why we are taking the 4 months? Why 4 months? Because accounting period is of 4 months. And why we are taking the 60%? Because 40% mileage for private journeys. So if we perform all these steps here, so we can start 18750 to be multiplied with 0.088% multiplied with the number of months, which are 4/12, multiplied with the business use percentage, that is 0.6. So its value is 300. Sorry, we just multiplied with the wrong percentage. So how we can change? Just double click, in this cell. uh, there should be a rate of 6%. So its value is 225. So as we know that it's an expense, so how can we show this 225 as a negative figure? How we can show this 225 as a negative figure? If you double click and after equal sign, just place a minus sign. As you can see, after equal sign, just place the minus sign. So the now figure is calculated, which is shown as a negative figure. After deducting this, now just place a formula is equal some bracket start and select these two values, positive and negative figure. Plus minus is the minus figure. So after deducting, you will find a value of 29475. 29475. Next thing, profits are shared to Simon, 40% to Simon and 60% to Art. This is after paying an annual salary of 6,000 to Art. Art is an other partner, so it's a total taxable profit for a business. And now let's talk about the P&L appropriation account. From this total profit, less the salary of Art. So if we deduct the salary of Art, then you will be having the remaining profit, and salary of Art is to be calculated for 4 months. 6,000 is a value, is the annual value, but we have to deduct the 4 month salary. So is equal 6,000 is equal 6,000. So this 6,000 to be multiplied with the number of 4 months. So value of 2,000. So how we can show this 2,000 as a negative figure? Just place a minus sign after equal and before the figure. So now profits to be shared is equal some brackets start, select these two figures, you will find a value of 27475. And as we know that trading income of Simon, that is 40% of the remaining profits, which are 27475. Simon's share of profit is 40,000. It's written over here. Profits are shared 40% to Simon and 60% to Art. So finally, it's the final value. So we are taking the value in the next cell in column C. So how it is calculated is equal this value to be multiplied with the profit share of 40%. Its value is 1,10990. So we got income from two sources, which are employment and trading. I am going to bold the values. Now moving towards the third, that is the third source, that is a property income. So just placing the heading, and in property income, Simon owned freehold house which he let out furnished. The property was let throughout the tax year. Throughout means for a period of complete 12 months. For the tax year 1920 at a monthly rent of 660. Now you can see he is charging a monthly rent of 660. So if he is charging a monthly rent, we have to find as the property let out for a throughout the tax year. Throughout means 12 months. So our first step is, okay, first of all, read the scenario completely. During the tax year 1927 paid council tax of 1320 in respect of property. He also replaced the property with washing machine during March 20. The old machine was sold for 70, being replaced by a washing dryer. Now you can see he sold the washing machine but purchased another asset with an extra functionality. And the dryer machine costing 970, but he sold the simple machine. So if you sold a machine and you bought a dryer machine, but for calculating, for claiming the replacement furniture relief, you will ignore this 970 value of dryer machine and will consider the cost of a similar washing machine would have been 730 if we purchase the same or equivalent asset. So the value of that asset would have been 730. But as he purchased the washer dryer for 970, we have to ignore that value. So the rental income is to be calculated at 660 monthly rent multiplied complete 12 months. So how you will be finding is equal 660 multiplied with 12 months. So its value is 7920. From this rental income, simply deduct the allowable expenses, which are council tax, and 1320 paid. So I'm taking minus 1320, and then another expense, that is we can claim a replacement furniture relief. Is simply calculated at the value of the new asset minus disposal proceed of old asset. But we cannot take this 970 because the washer dryer has an extra functionality of dryer. So we are taking the 730 value of the equivalent asset minus disposal proceed of the old asset for 70, which was for 70. So if we take these figures, 730 minus is 70. So its value is 660. Replacement furniture relief claim for 660. I am telling you again and again that you don't have to perform these steps into your paper. You don't have to show these values into your exam paper. Why I am taking for you guys. I'm writing for you guys so that you will be understanding how this 660 is calculated. Although we have performed the calculation over here, but still you can see how this 660 is calculated. So I want this 660 as minus. So place after is equal sum bracket start. Now select these three values and then bracket closed. So value property is now 5940. So if you add all these things, you will be getting total income is equal sum bracket start this value and this value, and we have a value at top, and all these figures are of 49510. Deduct the qualifying interest. Qualifying interest, nothing is given in question. So if there is no qualifying interest, this will be considered as your net income. Net income is of same value, that is after you can deduct. As you can see, net income is not more than 100,000 threshold limit, so there is no need to calculate the adjusted net income, and there is no need to check for the personal pension availability and all that. You can claim a whole amount of personal allowance, and personal allowance for the fiscal year 1920 is 12,500, is a figure of 12,500. After deducting this, you will get your taxable income of is equal, some bracket is start, and taxable income is 37010. As you can see, this person's total taxable income is 37010. So you can, it's an additional point. It's not relevant to this question, and there is no requirement for such thing. But I am telling you for your concepts, that as you can see, this 37010 is less than the first band limit, that is 37,500. Yeah, it's less than 37,500. So you can see, you can say that the person, that the Simon is a basic rate taxpayer. So you can say that the Simon is basic rate taxpayer, as his taxable income is less than the first band limit. So that is why Simon is a basic rate taxpayer. It's an additional point I am telling you, not related to this question. So hope this clarifies you. Now we are going to start the second requirement of this question. So I am moving towards the next requirement. As we know that they started the business on partnership business on first, they started the partnership business. It's mentioned in the very first para of the question. On 1st Jan 2020, he commenced partnership with Art, preparing accounts to 30th April. Requirement 2 of this question is pertaining to this sentence. State two advantages of partnership choosing 30th April as its accounting date rather than 5th April. As they have chosen the accounting date as 30th April, so examiner is asking about two advantages of choosing 30th April as the accounting year and rather than 5th April. So it's part B of the question. For this part of B, we have to tell the two advantages. So number one, the interval between earning profits and paying the related tax liability will be 11 months longer. This can be particularly beneficial where profits are rising. As you know that in yesterday's class, we talked about that a business, an individual pay tax on income, basic rate or additional rate or high rate taxpayer do pay their tax in installments, but a basic rate taxpayer pays installment by 31st Jan after fiscal year date. So you can see if they choose 5th April as fiscal year, So the fiscal year 31st Jan after fiscal year will be 31st Jan 2020. But as they are choosing 30th April as fiscal year end date, as the accounting end date. So first of all, the tax is to be payable after 31st Jan after fiscal year. So you can see that they are actually the interval between earning profits and paying the tax related tax liability will be 11 months longer. This can be particularly beneficial where profits are rising. And advantage number 2 is that it will be possible to calculate taxable profits well in advance of the end of the tax year, making it much clearer making it much easier to implement tax planning and make pension contributions. So it's actually about the tax payment and related liabilities. So this part of the questions actually comes from that area. So this is how we answered our question. And we were attempting the TX UK Specimen Finance Act 19, and the same type of question will appear when you will be sitting in your exam. So I hope this clarifies that how you will be attempting question in your real exam. Is that clear? Yeah, is that clear? Okay, good enough. Now we are going to attempt another question. Another question that is of from ACCA online practice platform. Another question is practice exam 1. Just click on this arrow. A new tab will open and same steps are required to follow to reach at the section C question. Directly moving towards the question of section C using navigator option, and then scroll down and reach at section C. From section C, we want to attempt questions of income tax, and here is a question of income tax for 15 marks. That is effectively about yeah, this one. This question relates to 4 requirements. First requirement A is of 2 marks. You can see state 2 advantages of Ashura of choosing 5th April as her accounting date rather than a date early in the tax year such as 30th April. Now you can see here the exam is as in this question of specimen exam, examiner asked about 2 advantages of the partnership choosing 30th April, but now you can see the requirement is inverse here. State 2 advantages for Ashura of choosing 5th April as their accounting date rather than a date early in the tax year such as 30th April. So don't think that the requirements are same. Requirements are different in both questions. Now we are actually attempting practice exam 1, and practice exam 1 question name is Ashura. Okay, next. It's the requirement 1. Next. Number 2. Actually, question has 4 requirements. Question has 4 requirements, so it's the requirement B. Calculate Ashura's revised tax adjusted trading loss for the 9 months ended 5th April 2020. Explain why it would not be beneficial for Ashura to claim loss relief under the provisions giving relief to a loss incurred in the early years of trade. Note, you should assume that the tax rates and allowances for the tax year 1920 also applicable in all the previous years. Requirement D, assuming that Ashura claims loss relief against her total income for the tax year 1920, calculate her taxable income for this tax year. I don't know, but feeling is, I feel that this type of question will appear for you guys. I don't know, but it's my feeling that this type of question you will be having in your exam. So I hope you will give attention to this question. I guess you will be finding the same question in your exam. So it's very important. Now you can see there are multiple requirements of this question. Are of 6 marks and 2 marks and 5 marks, and requirement A is of 2 marks. So before starting this question, I am giving you time to read this question very carefully, and after reading, we will be having a 15 minutes break, and then we will start this question and we'll start solving the requirements of this question. You can also open this question at your own screen so that you can scroll up and down and read requirement and question, set of question very carefully. So let's start discussing this question, and we are going to start solving from requirement B, that is calculate Ashura's revised tax adjusted trading loss for the 9 months period ended 5th April 2020. Ashura has been employed by RIF PLC since 1st Jan 17. She has also been self-employed since 1st July 19, preparing accounts for the first 9 months period ended 5th April 20. From this date to this date, there is actually a time period of 9 months. July, August, September, October, December 19, then Jan, Feb, March 20. So period of 9 months. The following information is available. During the tax year 1920, Ashura was paid its about employment. So during a period of 9 months, Ashura was paid 2 subscriptions. Ashura personally paid 2 subscriptions, one for professional subscription. The second was the subscription of 680 to a health club, which Ashura regularly uses to meet RIF PLC's client. A was not reimbursed for the cost either of the two subscriptions by Rift PLC. Keep remember payment of this professional subscription. If employee is paying himself, so that would be a deduction, and expenses not relating to personal expenses are not allowed to be deducted from the employment. During the tax year 1920, it's number third. During the tax year 1920, Ashura used the private motor car, her private motor car, so there will be a calculation of mileage allowance. She drove 34 miles in the performance of her duties, so mileage allowance is calculated on the business files. So total business files are 3400, for which the company paid her an allowance of 55. As we know that from 1 to 10,000 miles, the mileage allowance should be calculated at 45 pence per mile, and above than that 25 pence per mile. And you can see this 3400 is actually in the first 10,000. So reimbursement mileage allowance should be calculated at 45 pence per mile multiplied with the total number of miles and compared with the amount of mileage allowance received by employer. If employer paid in excess of the standard mileage, so the excess amount received would be considered as the net mileage benefit and will be added to the employment income. Number 4. During the tax year 1920, A contributed 2,800 into RIF's PLC's HMRC registered pension scheme and 3,400 gross into a personal pension scheme. About self-employment, Ashura's tax-adjusted trading loss based on her draft accounts for the 9 months period ended 5th April 20 is 3,300. This figure is before making any adjustment required for. So what are these adjustments? Advertising expenditure of 800 incurred. Expenditure of 800 incurred during Jan 19. When she started business on self-employed means they started business on 1st July 19. Now you can see actually an amount of 800 paid in Jan 19 effectively before the start of the business. So it will be considered as the pre-trading expenditure. So it will be treated as the pre-trading expenditure, and pre-trading expenditures are allowed to be deducted at the first day of the business. The expenditure has not been deducting in calculation the loss of 3,300. So it was actually this 3,300 was actually a draft loss. So it's a draft loss. So we have a different adjustment to be made in this loss. So here we have the first adjustment, that is 800. So if we start solving requirement B, as requirement B pertains to the self-employment area, calculate Ashura's revised tax adjusted trading loss for the 9 months. So first of all, let's start with the part B of Ashura. Trading loss, draft trading loss as given in question. Expanding the size of the column, draft trading loss is a negative figure, so I'm taking the negative figure in bracket, or you can simple write in a negative with negative sign. Then pre-trading expenditure, that is advertising, paid on 1st Jan and business started on 1st July. But pre-trading expenditure is expenditure which incurred before starting business, and the expenditure should relate to the business. So we have to deduct because it's an expense. So simply expenses are deducted. After that, the cost of Ashura's office. Number 2 point, the cost of Ashura's office. See note 2 below. And here is another adjustment, that is the capital losses. So Ashura runs business using one of the 5 rooms in her private house. The total running cost of the house for 9 months is 4350. No deduction has been made for the cost of the office in calculating the loss of 3300. So actually, we have to deduct the value use of office. So office total running cost of office is 4350 to be allocated to the business portion. So business is being conducted in one of the 5 rooms. So calculation step should be total running cost, and which pertains to the business is of 1 room. So we are taking the same figures as calculation steps here. So 4350 multiplied with 1/5. So its value is 870. To show this 870 as negative, place a negative sign between is equal and this value. So it's 870 a negative figure. Then for capital allowances, we have another note. On 10th June 19, A purchased a laptop for 2600 and on 1st July 19, Ashura purchased a motor car of 19200. The motor car has CO2 emission of 117 grams. Now you can see again in this question, a motor car has a CO2 emission of more than 110 grams per kilometer. So we shall be applying a 6% capital allowance. But keep remember, accounting period is of 9 months. So that is 6% multiplied by 9 upon 12. Now another thing is important, whether this car is totally used in business or this car has any private use. So let's move further. During the 9 months